Do you want to make better sounding drums? If so, this video is for you. I'll be going through some of the techniques that I use to make some really organic, cool sounding drums.
Like this.
If you already own a MIDI controller or a keyboard, you're in a good spot. First, because of something called velocity. Velocity is how gentle or how strong you press on a key. Since drummers don't play with the same amount of force every time when they play live, if they play 2 kick drums in a row, they won't sound exactly the same, which is why velocity is important. If you don't own any MIDI controllers, then don't worry, I will teach you how to do it on your laptop. So one thing you can do right off the bat is to adjust the volume of the individual elements here on the channel rack itself. You can also adjust the panning just to make it sound a bit more open. We're gonna change the velocity of the hi-hat and just draw like this. If you have a WAV file, so let's say we consolidate this, you can manually do this and just control the level of each part like this, and you can do this in any DAW. Ableton works the same way, and Logic too. The second reason why I might want to use one of these is because of quantization, which is a big word that literally measures how tight or on the grid your notes are. So what can we do to make it sound good, but not too good? Well, if after recording your drums you want to adjust them slightly, the best way to do it is to quantize them multiple times in small increments. So instead of hitting quantize 100%, just do like 20% a couple times. This will ensure that the drums are tight but not too tight, which would sound robotic. So now that we got the feeling part right, it's time to get the sound right. If you want to nail that acoustic live sound, something that I love to do is to use some RC20 on the snare to simulate those snare wires on the back of the snare drum. Just add RC20 with the Snarify preset. And although it already sounds much better, you can also adjust the follow knob to add more or less of the noise if you want. And then adjust the magnitude to mix it. Here's a bonus tip. You can also do this for keys to simulate when drummers are douchebags and forget to close up their snares in the studio. You hear how much warmer that sounds? It just gives you that extra oomph. Something you can also do to improve your drums is to add ghost notes. So if we play a simple drum beat like this, we could then add some ghost notes to make it sound better. Can you hear the difference? That makes it sound a lot more interesting and alive, in my opinion. Another thing you can add to make them even more interesting and more powerful is drum fills. Fills are essentially a combination of kicks, snares, and toms that play usually at the end of a bar or in transitions to other parts, and they sound essentially like this. This one doesn't exactly match the tempo that we're playing in, but you get the point. Sorry for the wardrobe change, I keep adding stuff to this video, so it's taking me multiple days to do it, but the next step that we could take to make drums sound even more powerful is to add ear candy. Ear candy basically consists of small elements and sounds that create a texture and keep the listener focused. When I want to create some ear candy, I usually add some Foley effects, hard pan left and right to really create that sense of movements and space around you. Or like these percussive elements from something like Playbox. This footage comes from an old video that I made on how I produced my track Brain Rot, and it's on my main channel. If you want to watch it, just click here, I think.
Oh my god, I love that.
So now that we've mentioned gear, velocity, quantization, ghost notes, fills, and ear candy, it's time for me to show you my forbidden technique. I like to call it stealing. With the invention of the internet, there are like a million samples that you can use. Okay, I'm not just saying you should go and rip someone off and just steal content online, but there are many ways to legally acquire drum samples, some even for free, if you're a broke shut-in like me. So back in the day, there used to be a website called Converse Sample Libraries or something like that, and you could just download a bunch of samples and loops for free. That website eventually got bought by Splice, and you can't get any samples anymore, but I did because I'm old. I really like how the drummer's playing on this. It's very loose, very groovy, and very dirty, but I'm not a fan of the sound of the drums or the fact that since it's just a single file, we can't apply like the RC20 to just the snare or like sidechain the kick. So what I ended up doing was I split the entire thing like this. So all of the kicks on one track, all the snares on a different track, and all the cymbals on a different track. And then you open SliceX. And you import the kicks over there. So what you can do next is you come here to this little symbol, you go to auto slice, medium auto slicing, and what this will do is assign a MIDI note to each of the kicks, and it's going to place them on your piano roll. So then you can select your brush tool and you press shift and left click, and you just drag your mouse along the entire thing. So after that's done, you can go to your channel rec, you can replace with sampler, so then you can just drag your sample over there. There you go. Super cool, right? So I ended up doing that with the snare and the cymbals as well. I think the end result was pretty cool. Let me show you.
Fake.
Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you learned something and that you can make better drums now, because yours honestly were just... If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. It would really help me out a lot. This is my second channel. My first channel is called Kikomori. It's just my music channel where I post music, obviously. I also stream 3 times a week on that channel and on Twitch as well. So if you want to see this live and just want to see me producing and do some cool stuff, definitely follow me for that as well. That's it. Bye-bye.
What is that?